Like Somebody in Love is my favorite film by Abbas Kiarostami. It also happens to be my favorite film in the Criterion Collection and is my favorite movie at the moment. Abbas Kiarostami's directing style is reminiscent of Yasujiro Ozu, but I feel like he takes it a step forward. Now, personally, I don't really care for Ozu's films. Not to say that he isn't a great director, I just can't really get into them. But Abbas Kiarostami, he has these captivating long takes that just suck you in. Now that's where the directors are different. Ozu would always have a static camera that would just show a scene from one viewpoint and not really use any kind of camera movements except for a tracking shot to follow people as they walked. Now, Abbas Kiarostami uses more creative and fluid camera movements to follow the scene wherever the characters would be, but he still stays to the static camera, but it doesn't just stay in one spot in each scene like Ozu would do. He works in a bit of Kurosawa as well, where Kurosawa would have one frame and have multiple layers of movement in one shot, which would keep your eyes interested. Now, I've only seen 3 other of Abbas Kiarostami's films, which were Where Is My Friend's House, Close Up, and A Taste of Cherry, and this out of the 4 of them is by far the best. Now, I've heard that Certified Copy is better, but I haven't seen it, so. But like Someone in Love, I saw that the night I found out that Kiarostami had died, which was the day after he had, which was July 4th of this year, 2016, which currently I think was just a few days ago. I can't really say the exact number because I don't know. But this film really held my interest so securely and kept me guessing, but though not really guessing, because I was able to watch this with just a blank mind, just enjoying it as it happened. But I was never able to predict the next scene. Which is why I would suggest to everyone, if you haven't heard anything about this movie yet, don't look anything up about it, don't read the descriptions, just watch it. And let it take you where it takes you. It's a minimalist plot structure, so don't expect like a whole adventure of a film where it would take place over a large amount of time like most movies do, but if you're familiar with Kiarostami's style, you already know that most of his films are like this. Now, personally, I was kind of disappointed at first when I would watch these kinds of films, but now that I know what to expect from Kiarostami, I'm no longer disappointed. And even though his films take place over a very short amount of time, I appreciate it all the more because it's filmed in almost real time, you know? Like, he might just film a scene for just 20 straight minutes of just people talking, and you can't get bored. I mean, I don't get bored. I've heard some people do, but I'm not those people. Of course, his films are furthermore patient, but that still doesn't mean that only those people should watch them. Like Somebody to Love, I recommend to everyone. And if you're looking to get into film, I would suggest watching this movie before any other film. Because though it's not really templative of other styles that you could study and compare to later films you might watch, like how a lot of movies would be considered textbook for this kind of thing, like the French New Wave or Bergman. But it's a good starting point, I feel, and you'll know what I mean when you watch it. But, and I don't usually give this rating out to most movies, but I gotta say, 10 out of 10. It excelled at everything it was trying to be, and it didn't lack in any area that I could possibly imagine could possibly be lacking for this film after seeing it. And it still excelled past my expectations. So based on that, I give this film a 10 out of 10. Rest in peace, Kiarostami, and thank you for your films. Thank you. I know I ended that last video, but there were some things that I said in my previous recordings of attempts at recording this last video because I kept messing up. So I felt the need to add it here, and I couldn't cut it in the middle because I don't have that kind of equipment at the moment to cut things with, or programs. So some things that really stood out to me about this movie is that, for one, it's one of the two, I think, films that Abbas Kiarostami filmed outside of Iran, and it takes place in a different country other than he was born in or spoke the language of. And I really appreciate when directors make those kinds of films that take place in a setting that they are somewhat unfamiliar with the completely racially appropriate cast, and just a story that just takes place there. That, to me, that's really admirable, and it really broadens one's directing horizons. You know? A story is its story, and they belong to places wherever they are in the world. And this movie, I really need to commend on being purely Japanese. Now, what I mean by that is, there is an archetype in Japanese cinema that you will see following it whatever film you'll see, that will kind of you'll kind of be able to predict what will happen with certain things, not in terms of plot, but with how some people will act and how they're written. Just kind of follows throughout every film in Japanese cinema in a certain way, because they're all linked characteristically by Japanese writers. But since Kiarostami wrote this, and he's not Japanese, he was able to give it an unbiased, or should I say, unnaturalistic view of how it is to be Japanese. Now, again, it also is very naturalistic at the same time, because he gave it just a natural, plain script. Now, this script could have taken place anywhere. You would have to do is just change the names, and it would have fit. And it is by that it's not really flavored like a specifically Japanese thing, and by that, even though it could have taken place anywhere, it fits perfectly here, just for those reasons. I probably didn't do a good job explaining that, but hopefully you understand what I mean. Thank you. Please check out all of Kiarostami's films, especially Like Someone to Love. Like Someone in Love. Check that out.